Ministers are to push a ban on mobile phones in schools and even on their school breaks. I'm going to read into this more from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Independent with the headline that ministers are pushing a ban on mobile phones in schools and even on breaks. The new guidance issued today tells head teachers they should search students for devices as part of their school behaviour policy. So guys, just before giving this report, you can hit the like button and share across social media so others are notified of this video. So they're already in majority of schools up and down the country. I'm going to say specifically here in England. I'm not going to speak for Wales and Scotland on their parts because they can speak for themselves in the comments section for them. So I'm going to specifically speak on in England. Most schools already have a ban of some sorts when it comes to the use of mobile phones within the classroom. And obviously having them there is a distraction that should not be needed. Now, I know that the vast majority of teachers they will confiscate them obviously if they have them on them or whatnot. But there are also some that require them, as we're reading the article. I have already read quite a bit of the article already, so I'm going to be reading it again because I wanted to get my head around some of the faults in that before, as we'll go through it again, to get my idea of some of where the positions are with some of the schools. And apparently, so there are still some pupils and students that need it as part of a medical situation as well. And I think that's on that regard that is acceptable. But I think there are certain devices they shouldn't have anywhere near them. And I actually am someone that would like this to be in law, and I'm very much in the agreement with the government on this kind of policy. Now, why I'm and I want it to be quite strong actually. So I agree that phones should be. As a matter of fact, actually, my position would go as far as to say that their phones should be taken away from them right at the moment they come into school and they hand it back at the end of school. Now, before anybody who is a parent starts kicking off in the comments section saying that their child should not have their phone taken away from them during in school, well, as long as they're in school, they're fine, they're safe, you know where they are, and if you need to get a hold of them, you can contact the school. That's a pretty given, isn't it? What do you need to that's how we used to do things. So what's the difference between doing that now? That's the first thing. Second thing is that why would I say on their breaks as well? Well, I would say on breaks. Now, obviously, there may be some mitigated circumstances where pupils may need them for emergencies, and then should only be in exceptional circumstances. But the main reason is you want them to spend time, on the playground with each other and not sitting there with their eyes staring at a phone 24/7. You don't want them doing that. Now, we know that they do that after schools. We know that some of them do that after schools as well. No, but we want to try and reduce the amount of time that they spend on social media. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of in favour of this policy. But I also think this is not just a school issue. I think it's a society issue, and it is something that we all need to mitigate and manage correctly. There has to be a way that we can manage our time that we spend on them. And one of the things that parents have started to do, especially what I've started to see as new generations have come along and the rise of mobile phones and social media and internet and whatnot, is that a lot of parents have just literally put a tablet in front of their child or a phone in front of it or their own phone in front of their child and just leave them in that world. And they don't get enough interaction with the parents, or they don't get enough interaction with when it comes to playground and toys and whatnot, because they want to spend all their time staring at this YouTube kids video all day long. And I think this is a big problem, and we need to find ways to mitigate and reduce this. Now, obviously, however parents do that, manage that in their own accord. But mobile phones should not be an issue in schools. They're not required. You don't need them for them, unless of course you need them for medical or any unless there are serious mitigating circumstances, then there should be exemptions. if they need to get in there may be some contact with somebody or something. Perhaps there may be a situation like that where like during their school break they need to call somebody for a reason specifically, and this is the reason why, and then they can give them the phone so they can call somebody. There are circumstances in which a mobile phone is a necessity, but it is not a necessity in the classroom. We know that. But for me, even on breaks, I think it will just do them a world of good not having that mobile phone on them. And I think it's something that we should seriously consider. Like I said, this is something that schools kind of manage themselves anyway, but I think it's something we should more push on. And I do agree with this premise. And I know there's some people who vehemently disagree with me, but we need to reduce the amount of social media that children have. Too much of it can be very bad for, they get trapped into a fake virtual world and not paying attention to what's going on in the real world. And I think that's really a real issue. And I do worry about the next generation of children, because I do see them a lot on their phones, and it is a worry for me. But is this going to make a difference when it comes to mobile phones? No, but do I think this will make a difference when it comes to education if it's enforced rather than just schools already implementing it? Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. That's my general personal belief anyway. So let's read into it, guys. So schools in England have been told they should ban pupils from using mobile phones and start searching students for the devices. So right there, here's the thing, is it right that kids should come in and get patted down for their phones? Or should it be a case that they should just either hand over the phone at the start of the session and that's it? Or if they don't have a mobile phone, and they say they don't have a mobile phone, then they don't get patted down. But if they end up getting caught with a mobile phone in the classroom, then they should face punishment for it. I wouldn't go as far as to fine the parents or something for their children using mobile phones. I think that's a bit extreme, but I don't think it's fair to literally pat a child down and check their bags and all this for a mobile phone. I think there needs to be a bit of a line there. I think there's a line there. I think I'm a little bit concerned about there. Ministers want children to be barred from using devices on breaks as well as in class. In the new guidance, they say head teachers can and should indefinitely mobile phones as something that they may be searched for as part of their school behaviour policy. However, the guidance is a non-statutory, meaning it is up to individual heads to decide their own policy on whether or not phones should be banned. One union branded the move a non-policy for a non-problem. See, I disagree. I do think it's a problem. I disagree there. Arguing that most schools already ban mobile phones during school hours. Yeah, most of them do. But what's wrong with making it policy? I don't see what the issue is with making it actual policy. If the majority of schools are doing it anyway, what's the issue about making it an actual policy? Is I guess the issue that I have there. Unveiling the guidance, Education Secretary Gillian Keegan says schools were places for children to learn, and mobile phones are at minimum an unwanted distraction in the classroom. She said she was giving teachers the tools to improve behaviour and do what they best teach. Well, if they're I get that they're already doing it. The vast majority of schools are doing it anyway. But my argument again is that what is the problem with it making it a policy, making it a law? The guidance warns that in some schools the use of mobile phones remains a daily battle. This is the thing. You want to reduce this daily battle. You want to make it a flat-out no thing. It tells teachers that ministers believe all schools should prohibit the use of mobile phones throughout the school day, not only at lessons but schools and lunchtimes as well. The government argues that removing mobile phones can help children and young people spend more time being active and socialising face-to-face with their peers, and it will help their mental health. This I agree with. I think that them being trapped on their mobile phones all the time is not good for their health. I think it's actually, I do agree in that regard. And then some people may disagree, but I can understand that premise. In a foreword to the document, Mrs. Keegan said it would provide clarity and consistency for teachers, and that there is currently a large variation of how different schools are managing the use of mobile phones. It suggested the 4 ways that can ban mobile phones. If schools are using different methods and different ways of it, perhaps there should be one policy for all to follow. Maybe that would be easier, especially if kids are having to move schools to schools as well, because that can happen in some circumstances for certain families. These include a rule of no mobile phones on the school premise, that phones must be handed in on arrival, and they must be kept in a secure location, which the pupil does not have access to, nor that the pupil can keep possession of their devices as long as they are never used, seen, or heard, with strict consequences for breach. Yeah, I can see that, as long as it's not used by the teachers at all, yeah. However, it notes some circumstances where pupils with medical conditions should use a phone, including those with diabetes who might use an app to monitor their glucose. That I can understand. That I don't have too much of an issue with that, as long as they are not caught using the phone for anything else. If it is, there are, like I said, there are exceptional circumstances where I think it should be reasonable to, for medical reasons. I don't have a problem with that. The new guidance was hailed as a significant step by Mrs. Keegan, who originally pledged to bring forward reforms banning mobile phone use in schools at last October's Tory conference. The thing is, it's not a significant step. I just think it's something that's already kind of implemented, but it's not like everyone has to follow the same thing, which I do fit. I wouldn't call it significant, like massive thing. I wouldn't call it something like a massive thing from the Conservatives. They are obviously trying to big themselves up. Tom Bennett, who advises the Department of Education on behaviour, says many schools already have some kind of policy on phones, but this guidance provides a clear steer for everyone, including parents, about what's right and what's not for the well-being of the child. Yeah, I think that makes sense, because you want the guidance to be clear in every school. So in that regard, I agree. The government pointed to recent official data that shows that nearly 1 in 3, 29% of secondary school pupils said mobile phones had been used when they were not supposed to be. But the Association of Schools and College Leaders General Secretary Joel Barton said that the compulsive use of devices was not happening in schools, but while children were out of schools. Yeah, see, this is one of the big issues here. How do you can't really tackle this. It's impossible to tackle. I mean, that's what happens after school with the kids is up to them. And yeah, this if this is this is kind of out of their control. It's out of the school's control. It's out of the parents' control unless they're home. You can't really do anything about that. That's kind of a problem there. I'm not sure how you would do. You can't really manage that, but you can manage it obviously during. You can manage it obviously during school sessions, and then it's down to the parents how much time they want them on their mobile phones and devices and whatnot. He said most schools are already forbidding the use of mobile phones during the school day and allow the use of only in limited and stipulated circumstances. Again, I get that, yeah. Excuse me. We have lost count of the number of times that ministers have now announced a crackdown on mobile phones in schools. It is a non-policy for a non-problem. The government would be fair off putting its energy into bringing it to heed the online platforms via which children are able to access, distribute, and extreme content. I do agree that more needs to be done online. While I totally agree more needs to be done when it comes to tackling online content and extreme content. I'm totally in favour of that. But we're talking about obviously mobile phones here, and this is the kind of topic of discussion that I wanted to kind of address. Now, like I've said, this is nothing that Conservatives should be tooting their horns about or whatsoever. This is something that schools have already kind of taken action for themselves. But what I do think is there should be much more clearer policy when it comes to how it should be managed. And yeah, I know some people will again disagree with me, thinking that mobile phones shouldn't be taken off them completely. Should be confiscated from them and then given back to them at the end of school. This is what I generally believe, and that's fine. You can disagree with me in the comments below. And I think even on breaks and lunch breaks, I don't see why they need mobile phones. I don't see why parents or whoever needs to call up their kids during their breaks don't need to do that. They're fine. They're safe. They should be spending time with the other kids. They don't need it. They don't need it. They should be spending time with other kids and whatnot. And I don't think it will hurt them. I really don't think it will hurt them. I don't think it's I don't think it should be a major issue for kids not having their mobile phones on them during breaks and lunch breaks. I think it would just kind of switch them off from the virtual world and see how they cope with it. But obviously, I know some people would disagree, but that's how I generally feel about the perspective on mobile phones. But like I said, most schools already have it in place, but don't give the Conservatives any credit whatsoever for this, because it's not something that they have been like, oh, we've come up with this great plan sort of thing, because that's nonsense. It's not anything of the sort. So, but what do you guys make of mobile phones in schools? What are some of you guys in some areas? Yeah, what's your school policies are like? Or maybe some of you teachers may be listening to this and may have some ideas and that sort of thing. Do you think that the phone should be taken straight away from them? Do you think it should be a case that maybe they should be, maybe you guys disagree with me, maybe they should be allowed to have their phones on them during their breaks and lunch breakers? Maybe some of you think that perhaps they should be just left at home so the kids don't have this issue. What about the issue when it comes to after school, when they go out, when they finish school after and they got their phones on them there? Do you think this is an issue and this is a society issue? What do you guys honestly think about the thoughts of mobile phones on kids and pupils? Let me know and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media and hit the bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or joining me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.